Hello, hi, hello. I'm setting the camera up. It's falling. I'm out of breath because I was dancing before the Lord. Um, and while listening to this song, Last Before the Lights by ANZ. I've had this song for a long time, but, and of course, headphones in. While dancing, closing my eyes, I was seeing cyber, obviously, because this song is like I don't. It's an electronic song, you know. I don't know how else to describe it. You just gotta listen to it for yourself. Okay. Um. But as I was thinking, I was saying cyber, and you know how like surfing through the web, hacker I'm in kind of stuff, and I was like, there's something really cosmic about cyber, like, and then Bing, let me talk about it. So I don't have my thoughts in order, so I am just going to be rambling off rip. But okay, I've had some of these thoughts for a while about especially how okay, I'm not saying like support AI or anything like that. If you don't want to, don't. Um it's just becoming the atmosphere of the world right now. So I just feel like there is a way to understand how it got to this point and understanding the science behind AI to speak. And as I said, I've always like had some of these thoughts, and starting off with like the usage of water to power it, right? And how again AI is man trying to make human in the way that it understands. Like we most of our body is mostly water and we need water in order to live. We're supposed to be drinking, what is it, 64 ounces of water every day. So if the brain is just a fast if the brain is something that processes fast, like a lot of our energy is actually used, especially, and it's seen a lot with people who are anxious and overthinkers. A lot of their energy and a lot of the calories are being burned straight because of thoughts. And if AI is a high processing database, it is essentially a brain. So it has all it has the information of the collective of humans, right? So AI, the internet, is basically the hive mind some science that leads to some science thinking that, oh, if we were to be a hive mind, like we would be more efficient. As you can see with how AI is now, that is not true. It's efficient in some cases, but because it's so much information that isn't always true, isn't always proven, but said with the confidence of it being fact. Sorry, the reason why I said it was because I'm listening to my friend. Um, don't listen to him, by the way. I think that y'all should stream his music. I'm listening to currently "Oil and Water" by Dre Tajai. That is DRETAJAI. So don't ever say I didn't put you on shit. But anyway, its energy is spent it burning through water. AI burning through water is like us burning through calories. Like there is a human equivalent to basically everything that an AI does, which is why it's like humans are better than AI because AI is always trying to imitate human and humanity. It can never be the same. I've always had this argument, and it will further be continue to be argued where it's like. But anyway, I also noticed it with I saw someone explaining, I forgot what it was. It was either a TikTok or a YouTube video, but I saw someone explaining how it creates images, how it generates its images, and how it will go line by line and basically, the what is it? RGB, like how it will take what it find the similarities it finds in the words that you use to describe it, and I forgot exactly how they explained it, but it will use that to try and generate a different image. And when I heard that person, I can't even remember who it was, that's how long ago it was, but when I heard that person explain that's how the images are generated, that is that is how when I heard it, I was like, that's how people, or at least how I've found I draw. Like, it's not, I don't see an image that I want to draw when I get into it. I start by doing lines and lines and thinking of, oh, this is possibly what this thing could look like. I don't have, it's like you're not taking direct reference. I don't know whether that makes sense, but if anybody can find whatever video I'm talking about and like watch it, I don't know whether it was like a positive thing for AI or a negative thing for AI. It was a long time ago. It was probably like 2 3 years ago by now, but um, it was like going, but okay, and how in general the way of teaching AI is by stealing other people's information and regurgitating it basically. And even when thinking of it like that and seeing it like that, it is mimicking the human process as well in doing that. The way that we learn is by reading other people's information that has been published. The only thing that it's doing differently is that these people aren't getting like the things that they deserve, right? For getting that information. They aren't getting the compensation for that. Um but like it's already been seen if you have been on like art talk and stuff like that, or even just like in artist spaces, there is always that argument of when someone's art style becomes very popular, a lot of people going and like learning and mimicking that art style, and like sometimes not even giving credit to the original artist. um like it is the same thing. It's literally just the same thing. The only difference is that with AI and technology, it doesn't have a soul. That is the main difference. We cannot give something non organic a soul. But it goes even further than that, where it's just like, it brings up the question, if something is brought, so has learned so much, can it break out of its own? This is like one of the biggest sci-fi questions. If something can learn and like change, can it break out of its own programming and develop something akin to a soul? And then this, I'm pretty sure this might be what I've started touching upon inside a previous video where my phone fell down, and I was just like, oh, they won't want me to talk about this. But the internet itself is an ever expansive thing, right? It's something that cannot be explained. It's something that isn't entirely controlled. We just occupy some spaces on it. We don't know the processes. We don't know the world that is within the internet, right? That world is a microcosm of the universe, something that is tangible enough, something that we can see and like work into. Basically, what I'm saying is like on some certain level, if internet equals universe, then us working on the internet, posting on the internet, doing things, interacting with the internet is akin to, if you believe in it, gods tampering with the earth. Like, we cannot see them. Some people are able to communicate with them and work with it really, really well. Like, they send messages that aren't entirely understandable because it is a completely different language than what we speak. I'm sorry, this is just like but yeah, sorry. I need to get that. Though we talk to AI in the language we speak, like coders would know. That is not the language that AI speaks. You know, it speaks in binary code, ones and zeros. That is literally a whole different language. So I want to explain it, but like to just thinking of how to start explaining it without sounding cuckoo nuts and without like pushing religion onto people, because that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to push religion, but a lot of my explanations are from my background of being raised in a Christian household. Um, so I'm like, it, and even inside like previous videos, again, I'm going to be referencing this a lot. Previous videos, previous writings I've done, I have said that like the universe learns from us just as much as we do from it. That is again reflected in all the people who are relying on AI for the answers, but the AI only knows as much as we do. It its consciousness, its learning, its information are all from us because we are the ones who filled the space and built its universe. Other than that, all it knows is its own code and how to speak in its own code. Sorry for all the tapping, but I just need to be doing stuff with my hands. I like that's the thing. We can't see through the AI's brain. And honestly, this cuz okay, so I get a lot of the Amazing Digital Circus. I watched the first episode on YouTube, the first two episodes, I think. And then like after that I stopped watching. But I get a lot of that in like theories surrounding the Amazing Digital Circus, and as well as the story "I have no mouth and I must scream" kind of thing. Um, but there have been a lot of what's it called, sci-fi things in general that are. Let me. I just need to close my eyes so I can think. a lot of sci-fi things in general that have been this thing of placing our mind, making digital. I forget what game it was, but there is this game where technology had merged itself with humans, and like humanity was basically all dismal and dead, and all these people like had to upload their brains and like make like clones of themselves, but it's just their brains, in order to safely escape. And like I'm saying, that is a common theme of like having to split your brain, and how while your personality is still there, that is still something that is functioning. It is still a part of you, but it is no longer part of you. Um, and how that has the entire life, it has all your memories, and it's just like, does that those memories make you a person, or is that the technology living through you? Sorry, that's not my original point, but that does bring up another question. But this was all today, by the way, because the Hollow also came up. And I watched that show. I watched that show as a completion. And the way I took it was that those people never escaped the game because that wasn't them. That was who they thought they were, created in the game. Like, it's no longer their body, and that part of their mind are separate entities. Um, Sorry. So I guess what I'm trying to say and trying to wrap up and bring back is that I forgot it again. Sorry. Entering the cyberscape, entering the universe of the cyber. Once you split that and enter, that is no longer you, because we cannot enter into that world. Let's say if we exist in the 3D, our imagination and dreams are the 4D, and the universe as a whole is 5D. The cyberscape would be akin to the 4D, but it would be AI's 4D, because the way that we live out here, are the AI's 5D. We are its universe. And then it itself, and what it believes is true, what it deems is true, its code, that is its 3D, right? So if we were to enter into the cyberscape, because it is a completely separate entity to ours, it is a completely separate plane, a completely separate plane, that would, like, our physical bodies cannot enter a separate plane, which is why, when, as I said in a previous video, when we dream, our souls exit the body into the 4D. So if we were to enter the cyberscape, it would be part of our souls, the memories and our feelings, our emotions, part of our souls will be imprinting on the cyberscape in the 4D. So that is what the AI would hang on to and believe. And in other words, it would become that part of the soul's 3D. Because if you think about it, the generation and all the things that come with, and the cyber psychosis that comes with, like, living in, surrounded by technology, and only engaging in technology, it is dreamlike in nature. Sorry, I'm trying to get myself to stop thinking that I'm so crazy. um, and I also don't really entirely remember my original point. Actually, no, I've been explaining my original point this entire time, that cyberspace is akin to the cosmic. Um, and what is it called? One of the more popular things. It's not called limbo. What is it? The break rooms. The break rooms have become very popular, and like liminal. There we go. Liminal spaces have always been a thing that has existed, and like I feel like it has been more conveyed, and it's probably one of the easiest things for AI to generate if we're thinking about it. Like in its earliest development, when people first started trying to like generate images off of it, it had this uncanny valleyness to it. It was very dreamlike in its interpretations, and it didn't all make sense because it didn't have the information that we did about our world, about like, because it can't physically see from our eyes and see things from our point of view. Again, another parallel in between us and gods, where is when people hit a flow state, when, well, flow state, yes, work and stuff like that, but I'm speaking artists specifically, when they hit a flow state and they don't even remember what they were doing exactly. Like, I know personally in my own experience, there are pieces that I have just done and not in no, I cannot replicate no matter how much I try. I already can't really replicate what I draw, but like there are some things that I really cannot replicate. And there are also things that I have drawn based off of like trying to remember dreams that I've gotten. And that in of itself, when I try to put what was in my head in a place that I don't even remember that well onto paper or even digitally, because that's how I color, but like even trying to remember that and draw it, it doesn't look the same as if it's in the dream, even though I can remember the picture and hear so vividly. And that is what I see as a parallel in AI generating images. Um, what I'm trying to say is that if you look at the parallels again, like AI generating those images based off of the information that we give is us trying to trying to paint, draw, whatever artist trying to do their art based off of what's in their head or what they have seen around them. That's how they work. That's how like its processes are learned from us. Yeah. So, but basically what I'm trying to say is like everything that you see AI doing, you could find its parallel in what humans do, but it's on basically sorry, basically what I'm saying as a whole is that the internet as a whole is a tangible universe in of itself. Like the internet itself is a universe that we are able to interact with. And sorry, um it makes us gods. Okay, so let me just explain what's happening right now. Um, so I'm just gonna explain it from the top, from even before I started recording this video. Um, I I am channeling right now. um, I should have expected this. I was dancing earlier, and even these beads. Just I was dancing earlier before that. Got my makeup done because I was just like, okay, I need to. This feels like I have to, right? And then, as I said when I started this video, I was listening to music when that song came on, and I was just like, I have to talk about this. Let me just make a video right now. I thought it was gonna be a simple video. I should have thought that. I shouldn't have thought that actually. I didn't think. I didn't think. But I'm being told to talk about this. Sorry. I'm feeling nauseous because again, this is just hit with the I don't like talking about myself, right? And like this is a huge part of my personality. And like there are some things that I still need to unlearn about being this kind of person, you know? Um but basically at the what just happened was I was getting so much information. I was getting a lot of information, truthfully speaking, and I had to stop the video because like I was just getting, and it's not entirely words, as you could see in the previous video. It was like a kind of tuning and stuff. It's not necessarily that I'm hearing someone speak. It's more like I'm feeling the words. Yeah, I'm not hearing the words. I'm not hearing the words, I'm not seeing the words. I'm feeling them. Um and that's why I just like I'm hearing control, control, control. But I basically just asked because I stopped the camera so that I just like, what is it you want me to say? What is it you want me to do? Um but I basically just asked like, do you want me to record this? They said yes. Here I am recording it. So, yeah. um but like when I look like this, what do you expect? What do you expect? I also, cuz that was a line Now it's open. But yeah, control. Ooh. Ooh. Something's telling me to say it, but like, and I'm sorry to get a headache. It's just okay. So what's going through my head right now is the fear of getting in trouble with the government. But I mean, all of this can't entirely be proven, but there have been, there has been out for a while, and if you talk to some people have actually known this for a while, that the government studies dreams and has put a lot of work into studying dreams. And since, as I earlier explained, the internet is the 4D that is able to be manipulated, propaganda and pushing it and using memes, which is one of the things that people have literally pointed out that is a government tactic, joking about these things, finding humor in these things. Um, that is one of the forms of one of the easiest to see forms of how the government is trying to control us, because the only way you would understand how to do those things and influence such a large mass of people like this, it is mass manipulation, is because it is reinforced in dreams. If you Even if you aren't a person who remembers your dreams, like our thoughts our thoughts are so thoroughly integrated with what we see and what is put inside the unconscious, the subconscious layer. And if you don't remember your dreams, that is a plus. Honestly, that is a plus on their part, because you do not know what they are influencing you to do inside your dreams. But if you are someone who remembers your dreams, then you, first of all, they want you. That has been that. but but it is. I've said this inside, again, inside a previous video, where your thoughts influence your reality, and you can you can change your reality by changing your thoughts. That is a thing that is seen inside a lot of like mental health books and self help books, where if you change the way you think, everything around you would change with it. It goes even deeper than that. That is literally one of the fundamentals of bringing the 4D into your 3D life, where no matter how outrageous things in your imagination might be, you can still find some similarities in the 3D, because what is entirely realistic, um whatever you imagine can possibly come true, because you influence it. If you think it can happen, then there is no impossibility with it. So their way of, because okay, the dreamscape, as I said, way earlier, is a place that cannot be controlled. And the people who do are dreamers. I'm a dreamer. Um, and so there will always be people who stand in the way of the ones who try to control and manage dreams. Um, and taking over the world kind of stuff. But the internet is, as I said, it's like a smaller scale version of what the uncontrollable world of the 4D is. So they control the internet, and they use tactics learned from trying to control dreams in controlling the internet, because it is that parallel of gods to us, them being gods to them, teaching it how it needs to do, which is why you still see the perpetuation of racism to continue in that class divide and continue with the infighting and stuff like that. If we focus on breaking apart each of the community, focus on, and also like the whole rage baiting things, and the pushing for ignorance, like the anti-intellectualism that is rampant in our current society. I don't understand why we brought back hating people who are trying to keep you informed. Um, but if all those things are perpetuated and told by the internet to keep pushing, keep regurgitating, um, because it gives them the most engagement, and that is like, what is it, Pavlov's dogs, where they learn, so they're going to repeat that behavior. It's the same with AI. It's learned that it gets this attention from us. It's learned that it gets this attention from us when we are angry and stuff like that. Um, and again, that just pushes the agenda. Where was I going? Right, tactics. It's trying to keep all of us distracted from what the real issue is, which I have said multiple times. The biggest issue is not racism. Racism is the easiest one for them to keep pushing. Sorry, my throat is getting hoarse. Give me a second. Racism is the easiest one to push. Colorism and racism are the easiest one to push because those are visible differences that you can like look, see, and hate on. And that's why right after that, the biggest issue is like, oh no, am I running out of space? Shit. Ooh, they always try to keep a black woman down. Actually, I think I could probably just upload the files to my laptop. Um, but anyway. Oh, I lost my train of thought because of that. But basically, yeah, that's why right afterwards, the biggest one is transphobia, then homophobia, because transphobia is something where it's just like you're tricking someone with your visible, something that people say, oh, we could always tell, but isn't the easiest to tell, and also doesn't really matter in the long scheme of things. because it's easier to give you something visible to, and it even again goes back to religion and like no offense to atheists but like atheism where because you cannot see a thing, it isn't tangible, it isn't something that is proven to be real, and they are using that because you know having dark skin is proven to be real, but and like there are some things that are about that, some things that maybe an individual has done that like perpetuates this thought of, oh, that's I see this, I associate that with their character, and that is like something visible that has been learned and reinforced. So that leads to having to distract us from the main big issue, which is class. That has always been the biggest thing. It does not matter. Yeah, sure, it's just like, oh yeah, but like something that even divides the black people is like, what is it called? The excellent Negro or something like that. But like people who have become rich and like their lifestyle has changed because they have afforded these things and been able to afford these things, and like they're always people always say that they switch up, but it's like they finally got the things that were promised once they were in a specific tax bracket, and then that comes with the, oh, you're too good for us. What you're seeing there is that is literally the class divide. They moved up a class, therefore someone may act different, um but even then, like, they aren't high enough class because a rich Negro is not the same as a rich white person, because there is going to be that class divide there. But above all, class is the biggest thing. Like things are underneath different classifications. You know, you could have the all encompassing, um, and how like black women are the lowest on the rung, and the class divide is really just the thing of power. Cis white males are at the top because in the grand scheme of things, they kind of they have to crawl the most for, I'll have to explain that in a different way. They have to crawl the most to get power. They have to lie, manipulate, cheat, kill, like steal, just everything in order to get that power. But at the bottom of the rung, the lowest class is the black woman who is sexually liberal. um and they have the most power because they are naturally attractive, just not even just in appearance or anything, just they attract goodness and fortune and abundance. That is why they are the lowest class, because they could easily get the things that white men think they deserve inherently. And with that, I think I'm gonna have to leave the video here because I am out of storage space. And we'll probably have to delete a lot off of my phone in order to make space so I could send it to my laptop. But anyway, that was this video. If you listened to the whole thing, thank you, and I love you. Goodbye.